I've spent the last 10 years of my life filming all around the world, 21 different countries, over 6 continents for over 50 clients, and I routinely sign deals ranging between 5 and 50,000 euros. And in this video, I want to share the top 10 best tricks I've learned over the last decade operating as a filmmaker. And to be honest, I'm really doing this video for who I was 10 years ago. And my goal here really is for 20-year-old Rudy to watch this video and understand how to make real progress as a filmmaker. Let's start with the most commonly asked question: gear. I often get approached by younger filmmakers asking me what camera I shoot on. Should they go with Sony or the new Nikon ZR, or is Canon still viable to create videos? And the answer to that question is that in technology in general, in camera tech at the moment, we've reached a bit of a point of diminishing returns where all cameras that were produced after 2020 perhaps have all reached the ultimate, 4K, 50 or 100 frames a second, shooting in 10-bit color, 422. And even iPhones nowadays are able to shoot log. And so the answer to that question is that whatever camera you have, you should shoot with. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that do not let yourself have a limiting belief about the fact that you can only create content once your gear is up to par. You can create right now. You can start billing right now, because the camera you have does no longer limit the value that you can bring through media to your clients or to yourself. And that leads us into point number 2, value. You see, as a filmmaker, we're entrusted by clients to provide them with a service that answers a very specific need. Clients are willing to invest because you're solving a problem of theirs. A common way for filmmakers to approach clients is to show them a reel and a portfolio and the most incredible cinematic shots. And frankly, what the client looks for is not just pretty visuals. Let's say you go to an architect to build your home. It makes sense that the architect knows how to design homes. It makes sense that an engineer knows how to solve complex mathematical problems. It makes sense that a doctor knows how to treat you. And so by that, it just makes sense that as filmmakers can create amazing images. So when a client approaches you, they're not just looking for that. They're looking for you to be able to understand their goals and for you to interpret it in an audiovisual package that encompasses their needs and makes them a better business and a more attractive option for their clients. And if a client can see that you as a filmmaker can not only produce beautiful images, but also understands and digs into their problem and what their clients look for, and if you manage to put their business in front of their customers, then you're winning and you're providing value. And clients love value. Let's say if you had a box and you put $1 in it and $2 come out, how many dollars are you willing to put inside that box? As much as you have, as much as you can. And that's what clients think when you provide them with a service contained in a video package, and they feel like they're getting more out of that than it costs them. What do you think their budgets are? Infinite, right? As much as they can. And that's the relationship that you want to create in your clients' minds in terms of value for the services that you provide. But I guess you can't provide value to any customers if you don't have any customers. And so this leads us into our third point: how to get customers as a filmmaker. And because this category is so broad, I'm going to break it up into point 3 and 4. 3, word of mouth. 4, outbound. Let's start with word of mouth. Your goal as a filmmaker, and what I always told myself when I was starting, is that 1 client leads to 2 clients within the next 12 to 24 months. And so as many clients as I had, I was expecting to get word of mouth from that client and get 2 jobs later in the future. And that's how you build sustainable relationships that snowball into getting more and more work. And so I understand that if you're just starting out, you probably have one client, and then it's a game of waiting for that client to either give you more work or recommend you to two of his peers. And I want to encourage you to trust that process, to pour yourself into that project, that first project, because it's so important that you make a good impression, that you deliver a good piece of work for that client, so that they feel like they want to commission more work from you, and that when the opportunity is right inside their circle, they'll always recommend you to one or two of their peers. This process takes patience because you have to let time pass and trust that the client will come back to you. It can be a bit unnerving because you never know exactly whether the client will or will not recruit you. The thing is, what you can focus on is delivering the best product for that particular client. And that's what I always encourage you to, especially in your first projects, is to over-deliver and really give that client an all-encompassing professional relationship. That means delivering on time and being communicative and taking them by the hand and leading them along all the steps of the production. Word of mouth takes time, but in my experience, it's the most reliable way to get consistent work as a filmmaker, because there's no stronger way to get a job than through recommendations. That's the only time that you won't have to prove yourself, because the person your client will recommend you to will trust you by default. And all you can do is just show them how much value you can bring them. All right, so word of mouth is more of a passive route. Now, what if you want to be a bit more aggressive and reach out to people? That's where outbound comes in. Outbound is when you approach people that don't know you and you try and convince them to buy a production package of you. And let me tell you, that's one of the hardest things to do as an independent filmmaker without sales and marketing experience. And it truly often hurts the ego to do so. There's a few ways of doing it, but all of them revolve around the same concept. You try and make noise so that people understand that you exist, understand your offer, and feel curious enough to give you time to explain your offer to them. To do this, you can use Instagram DMs, emails, cold calling, or joining network events that allow you to meet your customers. It's literally a whole science, and tell me in the comments if you want me to do one more video really breaking down the whole process, because it's such a multi-dimensional practice that I don't feel I should cover it all in this particular video. But let's rather talk about now that you have clients either through inbound or outbound. What do you charge them? And this is point number 5, price. This is literally one of the most determining factor in your entire career, is how much you can charge your clients. And there's so much to say about this topic. But let's compare two situations. In the one situation, you charge $200 per video. You'll need to make 10 of these videos to achieve $2,000 of net revenue in a month. Making 10 different videos means you need to acquire your clients, you need to sell them, and you need to deliver. And at the end, you're making $2,000. Compare that to having one single client that pays you $2,000 for a single video. The project will be more complex, and you'll have to prove the value invested to the client. But then you'll be able to make $2,000 in a single month from a single video, from a single client touch point, which means that you're only selling once and delivering once. And the time you save in that process isn't just on the delivery, but it's on the mental strain, on the stress, on the ability to maintain exclusive relationships with each one of these clients. You see, we're in a very bespoke, tailored industry, and no two videos look the same. No two clients behave the same way. And so when you're able to provide the clients with exclusive communication and bespoke tailoring and attention to every one of their requests and what their project requires, they're willing to pay a higher price. And so what I want to say is that I would always encourage to work at a premium rate rather than the basic one, because you're able to deliver more value more care to each project. And so I've made the decision to position my prices as premium, and I've lost a lot of work in that process from clients that weren't willing to pay the rate that I want. But at the same time, the clients that I do have pay me the premium rate and come back for more video projects, and the people that they refer me to are attuned to the fact that I've set my target value with that customer and are much more likely to accept that rate when I offer them my services. So the snowball effect is that you end up spending the same amount of time on projects that are much higher value for you, but also perceived for the customer. But the reality is that you'll always feel uncomfortable charging premium prices and knowing that some clients will say no if you're living on a day-to-day basis and you need income. And one way that I protect myself from feeling that urge to say yes to any work that comes around is by holding a security amount of cash that allows me to comfortably live for 3 to 6 months. This is not an investment tip video, but it's so important to know that you'll be financially stable for an extended period of time, even if you don't get work. It gives you such confidence in setting your prices and allows you to level your income and not feel like you should take that shitty client because otherwise you'll starve. To implement this, I suggest that from your next project or projects, just put 20% of that income aside so that it's there waiting for you when you need it. Ideally, you put it in a high interest rate account and keep about 3 months to 6 months to maybe a year if you can in that account, ready and available whenever you need it. And trust me, you'll feel such a sense of confidence when clients are approaching you and you can confidently say that you simply do not work at that price. And whenever I would lose work from lower paying customers and not locking projects because they refused, it allowed me to diversify my activities, either to become a better filmmaker by studying and learning, or to learn a lot more about outbound approach and reach out to the premium clients that I thought could afford my rates. So never see a lost client as a loss, but see it as an opportunity to better yourself and stand at the ready for when your premium client shows up. So what can you do to prepare yourself to receive your next premium client? Let's talk about your website. Your website and your brand are often things that you spend way too much time on. You often think that you can't send work appropriately to client, that your website needs a multiple page landscape, that you need to pay expensive subscriptions to get your website up and running. And here's the truth, you don't need any of that. For years, I used to sell clients with video links that I would just attach in my emails. And 7 years into this career, I did not have a website that stood its ground, and I was totally okay with it. But more recently, I've built a very simple website structure that leads with my show reel, shows the clients that I've worked with, some client testimonials. These are some of the most important things you can include on your website, a couple examples of work, and a call to action and a form where my clients can reach out to me. I've created this website with Claude Code in a matter of hours. I host it on Vercel, which is a free hosting platform. The code lives in GitHub. It's an easy process, and it's just this one link that you need to be able to send your client. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You don't need to make it all fancy. The client just needs to see what work you've done in the past and what they can expect when they work with you. I'd say your website is one of the least important things that you can do as a filmmaker. But if you really want to do it, then spend as little time on it as possible and reduce your monthly costs towards it. All right, but now you've said no to the cheap customers. What else can you do in your spare time besides building a website? And I would say that the most net positive result you can get from being unemployed is to diversify your streams of income. 2 years ago, I was living in Indonesia for a year. I went through a phase of not having clients for a few months, and that led me to think, wow, I really need to spend my time more productively. So I got interested in stock footage. I applied to both Blackbox and the Artlist Creator Program and got accepted in both, and then started mining all my hard drives for stock footage that I had from years past. I spent about 2 days retrieving all these archival footages, color grading them on a timeline, exporting them and uploading them to the various stock footage platforms. I also used this opportunity to hone my most stunning shots and cut myself a beautiful show reel that now lives on my website. And from these 3 days that I spent, and having never re-uploaded stock footage, I've cleared over $2,500, which means that I got paid just under $1,000 a day for these days I spent dealing with stock footage related activities. And right now I'm still selling stock footage every month. And so this effort kind of compounds, and it's just so satisfying to receive emails having sold stock footage. So that's definitely something that I would recommend you to do if you have nothing else to do. And the last topic I want to speak about is maybe one of the most important ones, and that is social media. Now, social media is something that I'm notoriously bad at. I've got 3,000 followers on Instagram, 100 on YouTube, so I can't say I'm by and large an influencer. And yet, whenever I post just a slight bit of content on any of these platforms, I feel a disproportionate amount of interest from my audience, and jobs somehow start pouring in. Remember, we spoke about inbound and outbound. Social media is somewhere in between, where someone doesn't necessarily reach out to you from a recommendation or having done past work with you, but you also don't have to pick up the phone and call people you don't know. It's such a comfortable space to be in, where people see your work and where you can build trust with your audience. And if you're still here at this stage of the video, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. So if you're getting any value from this YouTube video, please give me a follow so I can get this YouTube channel monetized. And I promise you, I'll come out with a lot of content that will help you in your filmmaking career. With that, I want to wish you the best of luck on your filmmaking journey. I hope to be a part of it through this channel. And otherwise, get out there, get exploring, get recognized, create beautiful shots. And I'll see you on the next one.